We feel like now we're on Thanksgiving Eve, right? Just a couple of weeks away, you'll be getting your turkey in the refrigerator to thaw out and the cranberry sauce making and all the fun things. Hopefully the most important part will be that families will come together. You might notice some changes though if you're around your grandmother, your mom, your great uncle, you name it. As we get older especially, we can tend to see our hearing slip a bit. So Dr. Tiffany Ahlberg is here with Ahlberg Audiology, kind of giving us some compassion and understanding on what to feel, I guess, and expect if you're the person dealing with the loss, and also if you're the family member. Is that fair?
Yeah, it goes both ways. The people with the loss, I feel like they get frustrated, embarrassed, and we think about hearing loss, and people deal with the same 5 stages of grief that they deal with anything else when they lose something. And hearing loss is losing something. So, right. You know, you have your denial, your anger, your bargaining, your depression, and then acceptance. And so as an audiologist, when people come in to see me, I have to figure out where they are. Because if you're in denial, you may not be ready to do something about the hearing loss.
Okay, so how could you be in denial? I mean, I understand it at the beginning, but then once they come to you and they do the test, isn't that just evident now?
It surprises me. It's amazing how many times I'll do the test and say, okay, you have a moderate hearing loss, a severe hearing loss, whatever that hearing loss may be. And I would say every single day someone will say, but it's not bad enough to do something about, is it? Yes. But so at that point, they have to come to terms with that it's bad enough, because I can't make them understand that it's bad enough. And a family member coming with that person helps a lot, because they're like, yes, it's bad enough. It's bad enough.
So, okay, well, there was another one that you said. You said denial,
anger is the next one.
Okay, and that one's kind of obvious.
Bargaining.
Bargaining, yeah, what is that?
So that's when you're maybe like, okay, well, it's going to get better. If I do this, if I eat healthy, maybe it'll come back. Like where you're trying to do things, maybe, you know, you're just praying for a miracle to happen.
Right.
You're just waiting for it to get better before you do something. And then when you realize, like, some of those things may not make it better, then you get depressed because it didn't work, and then you accept it. So,
didn't you tell me once that people tend to wait years before
7 years is the average, yes.
So would that even be the average for just coming in to get the test initially, or and then there can be a delay even after that before the acceptance comes?
Definitely.
That's a long time, because A, you're losing time with family and friends, and also if you really are having a hard time hearing, doesn't that tend to make you more isolated, and then that can lead to the dementia concerns, right?
Yes, it does. I mean, people quit doing things, they don't participate in activities that they enjoy, they don't go to certain restaurants, they don't go to certain functions, they become, you know, maybe they're reading a book while everybody else is talking. They kind of just are separated from family whenever they're having conversations.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the denial part of it for a second, because you've told me before that there are obviously different types of hearing loss, and I think most of us just kind of have one general idea in mind. But you've said that you can lose different frequencies of pitch, if you will.
Right.
So when that's presented to somebody, if you say, okay, this is a problem hearing tone for you, but this is good, do they tend to only hear the this is good part?
Yeah, I think they think, well, I mean, I hear some things, so I mean, why would I do something if I can hear something? I always relate it to, let's say you have a hip problem and you go to the doctor and they're like, well, you're bone on bone and you really need surgery. Does that mean you're going to have surgery? Maybe not right then. You have to come to terms with it yourself, and then when you're ready, then you fix it. And hearing is no different. You have to come to terms with it before you fix it.
Is the fix the same for everybody?
No, definitely not. It is very individualized. I mean, everybody has a different hearing loss, and everybody has different circumstances. So it is one of those things we have to make sure that we're getting exactly what that person needs.
Okay, so let's plot for a minute. And let's suppose that people watching are not the one with the hearing loss, and they're at their grandmother's house or the whatever, and they notice it with a family member. What should they do and what should they not do?
Well, again, it depends on what stage someone is at. I mean, awareness comes from a lot of times family members letting that person know that you're not hearing. So how they react to that depends on if they're in denial, if they're in the anger stage, if they're in the depression stage. So it depends on where they are along that journey as to how they're going to react. So everybody's different.
Is it helpful sometimes, like if it was I'm throwing all these things your way, but if there was like brothers and sisters together and it's their dad, just pretend, then if they kind of said, okay, one of us we know is going to go with them to the appointment, and let's just see kind of what we can figure out, so that you tried different settings to see if certain settings he could hear better than others. Would that be helpful then in coming to you?
I think so. I mean, I think awareness, because a lot of times people don't know. They don't realize how many times they say huh. They don't realize what they're missing out on. And people are different with that. It depends on how important communication is to that particular person. Some people, it's not important to them, but it may be important to the wife, it may be important to the daughter, it may be important to the other family members, but that person could care less whether they hear or not. So it depends on who's worried about it, but I think bringing it to the person's attention is step number one.
Oh, you know what? That's a really good point too, because the 5 levels of stages of grief, I wonder if that affects the family too, if the person's not getting the help.
Oh,
Are
definitely.
they angry and sad and...
Oh, all the time. They come into the office, they are, I promise.
So you're part counselor, part audiologist.
Yes.
In terms of making an appointment with you, I mean, we are here on the holiday season, and this kind of gets busy for you. So
call as soon as possible. We're trying to get everybody in, but after Thanksgiving, it gets really, really busy because everybody wants to get that end of year appointment before January.
Okay, so she has a team. It's not just her in the office to try to make it easier for you, and they're all great.
Yes, they are.
So 641-0956 is the phone number. If you want to go online and you can read more about their practice, it's ahlbergaudiology.com. She's right there on North Ocoee Street in Cleveland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.